Early on, we knew it was going to save us money. We didn't really understand how big the overall impact was going to be. Our budget dropped 12% right off the bat, and that's on a $1 million budget, so that's about $120,000 right off the bat. Our workman's comp claims went down by $45,000, so I mean, instantly we're at $150,000 a year, which is basically what our payment is. That was my overall goal, was to get to our payment price. We're there and now exceeding that, and trying to use more money into recycling and pushing other green type projects. The lid on the trash bin, people are using that. We're saving money because we don't have water waste. We pay by tonnage. You know, if our trash weighs 20 ton, that's how much we pay on. If it weighs 10 ton, that's what we pay on. So the drier it is, the better off we are, the more money we save. So, I mean, it just keeps piling up how much money we're saving because of this program.
It wasn't a real hard sell. We'll go back a few years here. Financial downturn was starting to happen. Our revenues were starting to decrease. Expenses were on the rise. And the talk was, after budget hearings, that we might eliminate our recycling program here. We had to think a little bit outside the box and take a look and see how we could drastically cut our costs to have our recycling program go forward here. And that's how we started into our automation. We had our recycling program, as I was saying, single stream recycling, start 2 years ago. It went very well, so at the time budget hearings came up 2 years ago, we decided we were going to do the rubbish because we saw the success of the recycling. There's 7 less people on our payroll now, and you have to figure they're between 65 and 70,000 with their benefits, pensions, so forth. If we multiply that times 7, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of $425,000 less per labor per year. The money that we saved actually was not money that could be expended for further developing services. It was money that was needed to provide core services due to the economic downturn. We're lower on our tax receipts. Our revenues have flatlined here. As our costs continue to increase, we were able to maintain the present services that we have here.
You look at our budget, what we've been able to do to save, the money there, work comp injuries have went way down. To me, that's the win. And I've got guys that used to be riding in the back of a Packer. Now they're sitting in a truck. That's the big wins. Basically, our budget from 2009-2010, I saved about $43,000 in the budget alone just by cutting temp help out, reducing vehicle costs and things like that. We used to every year put $40,000 aside for our new Packer. Well, we won't have that for 10 years, so there's a big savings there alone.
Beyond the financial impact, yes, there's been savings, no doubt. Let's look at previously, we had 3 individuals on a Packer, loading by hand. Injuries, a lot of injuries when they pick up the trash container and put it into the truck. And we had some grass pickup, and they slit the bags to put in and they'd cut themselves. And the way we're doing it now with the automated pickup, we do it with 1 person, and we have now had our injuries cut to 0 versus previously several a year. So right there we've saved money and time off the job. You can buy the 10-cent battery, you can buy the $2 battery and replace the 10-cent battery 15 times, and you're going to have more money in that cheaper brand. Well, right now we feel that with the equipment that we have, it's working perfect. In fact, I haven't had 1 complaint about the pickup service yet. Now, you always get complaints about other things, but as far as the equipment and the serviceability, we've had 0 complaints out of this office.
Instantly, I think of dollars. We put 2 guys in 2 trucks as opposed to 9 guys in 3 trucks. So you've got 2 guys doing the job that 9 guys were doing. So instantly 7 people got shifted to recycling to help increase that offset of the increase of recycling. So it's, You know, we didn't save a lot in manpower like a lot of communities could. We just shifted those people to keep them on board and increased other city programs to allow that to happen.
Been able to move people around, a lot less people working in the trash end of it. Started some new programs with that. Been able to get routes done a lot sooner, it's a lot cleaner. Figure we increased curbside recycling 7 to 10%. We started a chipping curbside program. We put 2 people into that, and then 1 person retired, and we didn't have to rehire for that.
At the city garage where I manage, we have our sanitation department, our MVH, our street department, traffic department, transit department. So there's several departments that work together. So as everybody knows, especially if you're in government, we've had to make a lot of cuts lately simply because the economy's not been great. So as an example, our MVH department operates from gas tax money, cigarette tax money, those type of things. So our revenues have gone down over the years. And unfortunately, last year we had to lay off 4 employees in that department. So what going to the automated system has done for us is given us some flexibility where we can use those people, the extra people. We had previously 3 people on the rear load truck, driver and 2 laborers. So what we did going automated, it freed up 2 people.
Using the rear load trucks, we had anywhere from 5 to 6 trucks on the road at any one period of time, which requires, again, a driver and 2 people on the back. The normal manpower allotment for the sanitation department was 15 people. What's going to happen now is that we'll probably have no more than about 7. One of those will be a supervisor, so we'll have 6 people operating. 3 of the trucks, we're still probably run at least 1 rear loader on really, really heavy trash days. Those people have not been displaced. We're not downgrading on the manpower levels. Those people have been transferred to another department to be able to perform other work in the city, a lot of it of which we didn't have enough manpower to get to, so we're going to see some improvements in that area too. The people that have been trained on driving these trucks, they love them. I think if I tried to put them back in the others, we'd probably have a little bit of a fight on our hands.
With the system that we currently have, with the toter system and the automated system, we've been able to free up some people to do the things that we haven't been able to get to. You know, we haven't been able to do the alleyways like we have wanted to do in the past, keep the gravel down, keep the ruts out of them, do the trimming of the weeds, because people will call in and say, you know, you tell us we have to mow our grass, you know, why aren't you mowing yours? Well, they've got a point. We now have the manpower taken off of the truck where there were 3 people, now leaves us 2 additional staff to get some things done. So we still have people doing the jobs that we weren't able to do, but now we can get some of the detail work that I think that makes the city look better. It is more inviting to visitors in the city, and I think it's just been overall a good thing that we've done.
We were in a manual process before where there were workers behind each of the recycling trucks, 2 recycling trucks every day and 2 rear load packers. So basically we were able to cut our manpower from 10 individuals out every day to basically 3. So a lot of savings in payroll.
Unfortunately, about 7 years ago, we lost a gentleman on the back of a Packer. They had to back up down an alley. The gentleman lost his life in that accident. And from then on, it was kind of the city's policy that we want to get out of alleys as soon as we can. Automation came along, and now a guy sits in a truck. You have nobody jumping off the truck anymore. They're highly visible. People can see them. They're within 5 feet of where they're picking up the trash, sitting in a cab. They're not touching it. So, I mean, it's just a huge safety improvement for the city. People are aware of them. We actually get people that sit out in lawn chairs and watch the trucks go by just to see it in action. It's that neat. So again, it's just a huge safety improvement for us. We started this in early September of last year in '09. And within that 4 or 5 month period, we'd already saved $45,000 as far as injuries in the DPW department. That doesn't sound like a lot, but in overall budgets, if we can save $45,000 in 5 months, you put that in a year, You know, you're getting up around $100,000. Not only does it help the guys, they're not having accidents, but our overall bottom line in our general fund goes down. It's just a win-win for everyone.
Oh, just work comp injuries alone. You know, not just, you know, they're out in the road in the back of a Packer, but we've had no injuries since we started this. I mean, that alone just tells, you know, everything about the program.
Safety's been a no-brainer. Safety is the #1 item that we looked at automated. You take, with the rear load trucks now, if we have a storm, if we have ice, if we have any kind of weather-related incidents, hot weather, we have to worry about the guys. We have to pull them in the truck. You let them set a storm out or be more cautious with the ice and stuff. With these trucks here, the driver sits inside. He's got air conditioning in the summer and heat in the winter. He basically doesn't get wet, so that's a big issue there. And then our workman's comp injuries, basically, since we started these automated, it's went to 0. We just have not, with a fully automated, we have not had a workman's comp injuries. With the rear load, the guys on the back, you know, you were getting strains, back pulls, you're getting cut, stuck with needles, getting fluids on you. So safety is the #1 issue that we went to this. It's just a no-brainer. It's just the way to go.
With the old rear load, you're fighting the weather, the traffic, like I say, that's the positives with one of these. But with the rear load, like I say, just the hazards out there. I've had oil from the top of my head down to my waist splashed up on me out of a rear load before, paint, spray paint. You know, it could have been any kind of chemical, sharp objects, cut. I mean, you're lifting the heavy cans all day long. With the automated, you don't have the hazards of a rear load. And as far as I know, we've had 0 workman's comp with the automated trucks. It's a huge savings with that. I mean, you just don't have to deal with the rear load, with the dangers of them.
You don't have 2 people walking behind a rear load packer subject to being run over by vehicles when they're coming out from behind the truck. Also, environmental hazards when the truck packs, getting chemicals sprayed back in their face. We were actually able to obtain a grant from the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Comp for $40,000 for the purchase of these vehicles. We applied for the grant, and after they studied what the transition was going to be here to implement the automation, they agreed that our workers' comp would go down that much and it was worth giving us a grant to purchase the vehicles. Fewer injuries because the people aren't out lifting, handling the rubbish. The arm on the truck does that for us now, and it's a lot quicker.
Not having to watch out for what 2 other people are doing and making sure that they're okay in addition to myself, I think is probably the main deal. Having people out behind into the area where the truck is packing, there's been issues with guys getting splashed with nasty stuff, which obviously doesn't happen with the automated truck, where they would get hit by oil, paint, flying debris, that kind of stuff. And again, just having those 2 individuals and not always knowing where they're at in relation to you, making sure that, hey, I see 2 guys and I know where they're at and I'm not gonna hurt them, or they're not going to get hurt by any traffic that's going by me as well. I had a guy working on the back of my truck on a main road, and the lady ran right into the back corner of the truck. Have, again, the issues with crossing the street, traffic kind of thing. Again, no issues with debris, no issues with having to lift items that were too heavy for you, so you're not going to have injuries, back injuries, having your hands or your legs get cut by glass, because we've all, pretty much anybody that picked up rubbish behind a rear loader got cut somewhere. I know I've gotten cut, I can't tell you how many times, just getting whacked with a can or something flying around. Say that it's, from that standpoint, it's like a whole nother world.
You're bound to get people who are in a hurry, they want to go home. We don't want them to work overtime, so it's go, go, go. And they're in a hurry and they're trying to get this done. Now, the truck shows up, lifts up the toter, the grass is not in a plastic bag, it doesn't have to be, placed in the truck, it's set back down, and you go on. Now, how are you going to get injured? That's why with the public safety director's employees, he can look at this on a daily basis, and you can't put down on a piece of paper your savings because you never know how many people are going to be injured, but let me tell you, it's been significant. When you go from whatever the cost of of getting a person stitched up or back injuries where they're off for weeks at a time to 0, I think that's a significant change in your budget alone. So it's good news. Plus the fact you don't want to see anybody hurt, period.
We have 2 big trailer parks here in town, and we did some studies and some picture taking before automation and noticed how trashy the bins were, and just kind of a hodgepodge of trash collection and stuff like that. The guys had to fight every day. Now you go out and it's the same. It looks like a newly remodeled trailer park. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's just one segment of the town that's cleaned up. Not to mention, we're not in alleys anymore. We're not constantly reproving those alleys because our big trucks were damaging those. So I mean, there's just a lot of little things that have cleaned up just because of automation. It's at the curb. You got 1 trash can now. You don't have 4 or 5 sitting out there.
Some of the materials had been placed for pickup. Believe it or not, in times there were whole households of furniture that were lining the street in front of residences. Now if you go down through the street that's prepared for having the trash picked up on a particular day, it looks neat, clean, orderly.
There is no loose trash. There are lids on there to cover them. There's rainwater. Used to we have to pay for rainwater in the old system. Right now we don't pay for water, so I think the totes are the way to go. Yeah.
We traveled to quite a few cities throughout Ohio and noticed, looking down the street, it was much neater than what it looked like around here on rubbish day. You didn't have piles of bags and just things stacked on tree lawns. It was more orderly. Containers were lined up, kind of like soldiers down the street. We have since then gotten positive comments from some of our residents in regards to the same appearance. They like the appearance better. They also like the fact that less animals are able to forage through the rubbish. We don't have any issues with crows anymore, ripping into bags, or raccoons, so forth. So it's had a positive impact as far as aesthetics go.
We've been in the automated business for approximately 6 years now. But every trash day, for me, I look up and down my street and it looks like a bunch of soldiers sitting up there, all alike. Maybe one of the lids are raised a little more than they should because people put too much in, but all in all, they're there, they look good. There's not 15 different cans and it just looks better. And the quality of service when that driver comes by, picks it up, sets it back down in the place it was before. So at the beginning of the day when they're full, and at the end of the day when you go home, you know what, it looks like it was this morning. A lot neater. Trash isn't flowing out, blowing out. It's just a nicer appearance in your community. And this is in every neighborhood. And there's different days for trash pickup. So when I'm driving in a neighborhood, yep, it's their trash day, and look at those nice totes sitting there, and they're going to be picked up and replaced where they were. It just looks better. I think everybody is looking at carbon footprint. Today the environment is a big thing. So we currently have the system that picks up more units per day than we ever did. And I'm going to give you some approximate numbers, and if I'm off, somebody's going to tell me. We used to pick up approximately 500 homes a day, and now we're up over 800 homes a day. So what does that mean? We're doing more, getting the job accomplished quicker, trucks off the streets quicker. That all, I think at the end of the day, gives you a better environmental air quality. It does all the things that you're wanting to do, and those are the subtle things that people don't think about.
We automated our recycling program, and we went to a single stream program where it made it a lot easier for residents to recycle a lot more materials, cardboards, other things. Instead of having a 30-gallon square container, now they have a 64-gallon cart that a lot of them load up every week. So we're more eco-friendly through the fact that we're recycling quite a bit more, probably about 20% more. Single stream recycling is, everything's commingled. You don't have to, when we take our materials, they're not sorted out. Some cities they'll call dual stream, they're separating their fiber, paper, and then all your other commodities like the plastics, metal, so forth. Those are in another stream. Well, this is all mixed together, and what happens is it goes to a recycling MRF, is dumped on a tip floor. As far as ours is transferred now to a facility in North Canton, and then it's separated through mechanical devices and hand sorting at that point. And what it does, single stream recycling makes it a lot easier for residents to recycle.
We've got a director now into the schools pushing recycling. Our recycling's up over 20 to 25% compared to what it was a year ago before automation. More and more people today are using recycling. So, you know, our land tipping fees are down because more people are using recycling. And overall, our recycling program has definitely benefited. And right now, we're actually looking at possibly building a new building to handle our increase in recycling. So, you know, it's kind of a negative impact that we got to expand our facility, but at the same time, it's a very positive for the environment too. You know, we're using a lot less gas. We have more efficient equipment now. The trucks are getting better gas mileage than our old trucks were. So right there alone, we're saving on gas. You've got 2 trucks as opposed to 3. So that, I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, a 50-gallon truck, once you fill it up every day, you know, 50 gallons here, 50 gallons there, small pennies add up to big dollars in the long run. And you know, you can't say enough of where you can save money, and gas continuously is going up. So whenever you can save money on your carbon footprint, you got to do it too.
At first, there was a few guys leery of doing it. Now they all want a part of it. The guys that are in there, they do not want to get out. They just, you know, they love it. Like I said, that they're inside, out of the climate, and just don't have to worry about getting trash on them. Basically, they know they have to clean them afterwards, but other than that, they love the job.
Since we've began with the automated truck, we've gone from 3 people to 1, and so money-wise, it's a lot more efficient, just a whole lot better outfit. You don't have to get out in the traffic, fight the weather, all the hazards associated with the rear load packer, chemicals, sharp objects, all that kind of stuff.
You don't touch it, you don't smell it, don't get sweaty, you're not in the heat, you're not in the wet, you're warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Should have went to this 20 years ago. You're throwing 14 ton of trash a day, you know, you're wore out when you get off work. With one of these, you're ready to go drink a cold beer.
One of the things I fully recommend if you're thinking about going automated is do it all at once. I talked to Mayor Armstrong in Columbus on this particular fact, and he fights that every time they launch a new area of town, that they reintroduce everybody to automation. And we did it all at once. We had about a month period where people got over the change, they had to figure out the change, but overall the citizens, once they figured out what it was, how it was going to happen, it was an easy sell. So it wasn't really hard, it was just getting council to release the money and to make the change.
Yeah, what are you waiting on? You know, let's get going. It's the perfect time. I mean, you go to the shows, that's all you see is automated trucks. Just get moving on it.
You know, if you're not looking at automation, you're falling farther and farther behind. Until you go automated, you're going to be behind the curve.
There are a few things I'd tell any other city that's thinking about automating. Number one, you use the information that's available from other cities that have already automated. Communicate to the residents what you're going to do.
Don't hesitate. Get on the bandwagon and go with it. It's only going to be better for the future. The only thing I wish I would have done is got the truck with 2 arms.
I don't think it was a tough sell. I mean, I'd seen it, the first time I'd seen it was in Florida on vacation. And the next thing I knew, the public safety director had come to me and said, hey, we've got to look at savings, and here's a way we can do it. To make a long story short, we had public meetings, we showed people the toter. Yes, you have your people that, oh my goodness, that weighs too much and there's no way I can maneuver this thing. Well, here, touch it, feel it, look at it, play with it, tell us your problem. Don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect scenario at the beginning of anything, but at the end of the day, there are no complaints. So that's important. You know, that phone when it rings, it doesn't ring normally because somebody's happy. So when it doesn't ring at all, that makes me happy.
And I think that automation will be a standard going forward because due to the fact that there's just so much less exposure to an employee, you know, hazards to the job, and it's so much more cost efficient.
At first, I was a little nervous. We got some negative feedback, but that was just because we changed. You're going to have negative feedback in the beginning. That's part of it. As we continue to roll on, it's funny. People, some of our biggest critics when we first introduced it, are now saying, wow, this is one of the best things. We should have looked at this 30 years ago. Well, unfortunately, the trucks weren't available 30 years ago.
You know, we don't like to change, and that was basically the biggest thing. You know, I'm set in my ways, you know, but most of them, once they started this program, it was a win for them.
We had a complete education program, a nice rollout. Took a couple months to really educate the public on it, and it's been smooth ever since.
Have your public meetings. Make sure people know the product, can see the product before you purchase the product. And then have some of the council members from other cities contact all the cities that have this program in place and even come to their community and talk to them about it. But I guarantee you, at the end of the day, when they do purchase the products, both trucks and the toter, it's going to be one of the best days they've ever had. It just reduces the number of complaints and injuries to nothing.
I didn't think we were ahead of the curve, but now looking at it, more and more cities are going this way. We're ahead of the budget cuts that are going on right now. The state's facing those all over the state. We were fortunate we didn't lose a lot in the budget cuts, but we planned things to make it happen. This is one of them. You know, this early on savings of $150,000 to $200,000 a year sure doesn't hurt things when budgets are tight. So yes, it is a risk to go ahead and invest some big money up front. You spread it out over time and you make it happen, and it saves you money in the long run.
You can't visit too many other cities that have done it. Go observe their operations, talk to the drivers, talk to everybody involved with it, see what they did that was right, see what they did what was wrong. Take everything together and then consider it for your own program because every city's a little bit different how they operate.
I'm telling you, I'm so thrilled. And I think almost all of our citizens feel the same way. It's cleaner, neater. I can't describe the way I probably should how good the city has been about this. Even when times are bad, the trash sanitation service is important. And if their sanitation's picked up and it's done in a neat way, reduces complaints, and that's what this program's done for us.
Stoops Freightliner and Autocar Trucks is your one-stop source for refuse trucks in the Midwest, featuring both Freightliner and Autocar trucks. Stoops complements these industry leaders with round-the-clock parts and service support for both lines. Freightliner offers the shortest turning radius, best visibility, and lowest cost of ownership of any conventional cab truck. The rugged M2 Series cab comes in left-hand, dual-sit, and right-hand stand-up drive configurations. Freightliner M2 trucks are powered by your choice of sturdy Cummins or or Detroit diesel engines and feature Allison transmissions. The Autocar ACX Expeditors, driver-friendly cab, high-quality custom construction, and uncomparable visibility and maneuverability make it the #1 selling low-cab forward truck in the United States. The Hagerstown, Indiana-built ACX Expediter features Cummins engines from Columbus, Indiana, Allison transmissions from Indianapolis, Indiana, and Arvin Meritor axles assembled in Plainfield, Indiana. The ACX comes in left-hand, right-hand, dual-sit, and low-entry right-hand stand-up drive configurations. Best Equipment has earned a national reputation for sales performance, customer satisfaction, and honest business practices. The company prides itself on being a family business with strong family values. Established in 1917, Best Equipment started modestly as an Elgin sweeper dealer. Originally founded in Indiana, the company now operates in 3 states, including Kentucky and Ohio. The company has grown dramatically in the last 94 years and now represents over 20 major brand product lines within the public works industry. The 3 main areas the company focuses upon are solid waste and recycling, street sweeping, and sewer cleaning. Great products, great people, and a sincere commitment to your satisfaction is what makes Best Equipment the best. Toter is the solid waste industry's largest supplier of residential wheeled rollout carts for curbside automated trash and recycling collection. Toter's stress-free manufacturing process, known as advanced rotational molding, allows the cart to flex during collection. This flexible design characteristic allows Toter to stand up to the harsh and rough collection process. In fact, Toter is proudly known in the industry as the world's toughest cart. Cities and private contractors across America prefer Toter. Labrie is a top-tier, ISO-certified North American manufacturer of solid waste equipment, whose line includes brands such as Labrie, Leach, and Whitkey. Labrie is well respected within the industry as an innovator and producer of very high-quality equipment. Equipment known for its high level of productivity, operator safety and comfort, and friendliness towards the environment. Trend-setting automated Labrie models such as the drop frame helping hand and straight frame right hand make Labrie the choice for experts across the country.